Greetings once again, Highlanders fans, and welcome to GoHighlanders.com's coverage of the 2010 cross-country season. Both teams are currently engaged in preseason training up at Mammoth Lake, so we drove up to 395 to speak with Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Irv Ray, to get his take on the upcoming season. Coach, thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Before we look ahead to the 2010 season, let's take a quick look back at 2009. How did last year's cross-country season pan out based on what you expected heading into the year, and what does this year's incarnation carry forward from last year's experience?
Well, last year was a mixed bag. We had high expectations and hopes for both programs, and we started off with a great success at the beginning of the year. The women beating nationally ranked BYU, and the men competing very well. The women also won the Reno Invitational against Stanford, so we really thought we were going to have an extraordinary year, but we don't control all that. When we got down to the end of the season and on the day at the conference championships, girls were maybe a little bit tight and had big expectations, and we just didn't perform. And finishing fifth was the lowest finish. We'd worked really hard at climbing up the ladder from the bottom to the top, and then we reversed our direction a little bit. The guys were fourth and was okay, but again was way below what we expected. So we, as all good coaches, you look at what you did right, what we didn't do right, and we make some adjustments, and we're looking towards this year to make a move forward back to the top on both the men's and women's programs.
One of the adjustments, of course, you have to make every year in college is you lose players to graduation. Can you remind the folks at home who some of those key players or student athletes are that will no longer be wearing the Highlander blue and gold?
Right. Ashley Pratt was the leader on our team, graduated along with Jackie Juarez. Of course, Brenda Martinez has graduated and moved on to professional ranks. And, you know, even going back 2 years, we lost Lisa Lopez, Daniel and Christina Levis, and that was our group that won the championship. So this group this year is made up of mostly freshmen and sophomores. We only have one senior in our top seven. So it's a younger group, and we've got some modest goals. And this group will be together, which is exciting for the next 3 or 4 years, so we think we're going to be able to build back again.
Well, who are some of the top returners from last year?
Katie Daly will lead our group, team captain, and was all-conference as a freshman, the highest finish ever in the school's history. And she's looking to contend for an individual champion and will lead the team. Then also Margaret Sittker, Camille Alvarez will kind of be in the number 2 and 3 position. And then behind that is sophomore Brittany Reimer and sophomore DeMaggio DeBose. And that'll kind of run on our top 5. 6, 7, and 8 hasn't really been determined yet, so that'll be made up of our freshman crew, which is Rocky Heflin, Michelle Hernandez, and Alicia Brown.
We've only been up here a few days. Are there particular athletes that have really impressed you with how they came prepared into camp?
Yeah, Katie's really done her homework over the summer, and we're excited about what I think she can achieve this year, both in the conference and then at the regional level, as well as possibly at the nationals. And Margaret and Sittker and Camille Alvarez have really stepped forward, and I think are going to have extraordinary years as well. After that, we're kind of young and sophomores and freshmen, and so we'll be determined how that's all going to work out.
What about on the men's side? Who's no longer with us from last year, and who's returned?
Okay, good memory, Coach. Actually, we didn't lose very many men from last year, mostly Daniel Lindstrom, graduated. He's on to Pharmacy College in Arizona, and Jose Molina. He was in graduate school at UCLA. So basically, out of our top 7, there was only 2 that we lost. Everybody else is back, leading, of course, with Chad Hall, who's got high expectations for the season for himself to go all the way to nationals. And then Talal Khan, Brett Valencia, both sophomores. Steve Crum, also a sophomore. Freshman Seth Totten from Golden Valley High School is going to make an impact in our top 5, and freshman Omar Gonzalez.
Well, at the time of this interview, the Big West coaches haven't made their predictions yet for the preseason, but let's go ahead and put you on the spot. Who do you see as being the top contenders on the women's side first, and then on the men's side for the championship this year? On
the women's side, we have a very, very competitive conference in the women. We'll have several nationally ranked teams, starting off with UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos won last year, and almost all of their top group is back. And I think they've got their sets on a top 10 or 15 finish at nationals, and they're certainly a capable team. They will probably defend our conference. Right after that is UC Davis with a very experienced team. and I think they're going to be nationally ranked as well. Then after that, it's sort of Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, ourselves, and Long Beach will kind of mix it in for the 3, 4, and 5 spot. Be very close on the day, and our conference is very deep. After that, it's Fullerton, Irvine, Northridge, all top regionally ranked teams. On the men's side, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo has won their 7th consecutive, and I think 12 total under Coach Conover. But kind of interesting, they only have 2 returners out of their top 7, and it'll be a new squad for him, and he hasn't had that in quite a few years. So the door may be slightly open. I would put ourselves and UC Davis for that 2nd and 3rd spot. Both going to be regionally ranked teams. And then after UC Davis, I think it's Long Beach, Irvine, Fullerton, and on down the list.
Well, as fans of the program may be able to tell, we are not shooting this on the campus of UC Riverside based on the foliage in the background. We're up at Mammoth Lakes, where we have joined you and where you all have been for a few days now and for years as a coach. You've brought your teams up to Mammoth Lake for high-altitude training. Can you explain in layman's terms what high-altitude training is and what the benefits are to our athletes from training up here?
Yeah, we started, my first year here, I had a long talk with Stan Morrison about the importance of altitude training and trying to emulate what some of the national programs in the country like Stanford and Colorado and some of the really good programs that spend time at altitude training, and changes the physiology. So we increase the red blood cells here and increase fitness and oxygen consumption, and all those things will serve us well the rest of the season. So getting in a 3 to 4 week training block without school and without interruptions, where the focus is on training and teaching and learning from the student-athlete standpoint, we can really change their fitness and hopefully carry that back. And if they're good stewards of that, good hydration and good sleep, and take care of themselves when school starts, we'll have all those red blood cells in play when we run the conference and regional championships.
Well, you're up here for about 3 weeks in total, but before you head back home, you head to your first meet, the Twilight Invitational in Nevada. What can you tell us about the schedule this year, and in particular about the UC Riverside Invitational, which we'll be hosting for the 31st year?
That's right. We'll start with Reno, and that's sort of an opener preseason kind of a competition when the women run 4K instead of 6, the men run 6K instead of 8. And Stanford, Fresno State, Sac State kind of, and Nevada participate, and nobody takes it too seriously. Everybody gets out there and runs and mixes it up a little bit, and trying to get the first race under their belt so that we can continue to train under the NCAA rules. And then we'll come back and we'll run at UC Riverside on the 30th, I think it's 30th, maybe 31. And we'll be bringing Arkansas women. We're nationally ranked, a top 5 in the country will be out from Arkansas, BYU men, and the rest of the great programs from Southern California that we'll get a chance to line up and see how we do. This year we're trying to kind of ease our way through the season and have our best performances at the end, and so we're going to kind of maybe not take it so serious the first couple of meets. After our home meet, we're going to fly up to Willamette and run on a grass and a wet course, which is where our regional championship is in Eugene, so they're pretty close proximity. Get us a chance to run on that kind of terrain and an atmosphere. Then we'll go to Northridge for a tune-up before conference. And then conference will be at our course for I think the 3rd or 4th year in a row. We'll be hosting the Big West Championships, and then up to Eugene for the regionals, and then hopefully team or individuals will be going to tear out Indiana for the national championships.
And we are obviously at a public park, not a private park, as you can tell.
But it's a beautiful surroundings, and the birds are chirping, and the people are playing frisbee behind us.
One last question, Coach, and that is looking into your crystal ball. If the men's team and or the women's team are hoisting championship trophies this year in the Big West Conference, what are the things that have happened to make that a reality?
Really, it's about running well on the day, and I think that we got an opportunity on both sides to do that. Men are really in play, I think, for a championship run. And it's, like I say, we start the gun, there's no timeouts and no substitutions, and every athlete has to react to what's going on in the race with the tactics and the pacing. And they got to make it happen on the day. And then at the end, we add up the scores, and the lowest team wins. And I know the guys are hoping that it'll be us, and I think that's a realistic shot for us. The women's side, I think top 3 would be great, and build for next year. Both teams, we will return pretty much everybody. 99% of the women will return, and 100% of the men will return for next year. So kind of looking at a 2-year thing, this year and next year.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks. Great seeing you guys. All the best.